Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to do a Deepin update video. This is going to be for March 2025. And I'm going to do some updates on some of our favorite Deepin projects, namely Geonet, Dimo, Hivemapper, and Natix. They did have quite a few updates. Going to kind of shotgun through them just because we haven't done one in quite a bit. So if that sounds good guys, stay tuned. Let's get right to this thing. So hopefully, I know it's been a rough week in the crypto land. Hopefully you guys are sticking with it. You guys still in the game. If any of you guys sold, I do thank you for providing us with that cheap crypto. It's up to you on how you trade this market, but for me, it's nothing but opportunity. We've been stacking, and a lot of it actually has been a lot of these Deepin things, right? So before we fully get started, just do want to go over this quick little graph here. So this is a good X account to follow if you are into Deepin at Dylan G. Bain. He is a research analyst for Messari. You guys are unfamiliar with Messari. It is one of the leading crypto analyst firms. They do provide a lot of data. They do a lot of reports that a lot of the VCs tend to watch. So a lot of big news coming from here. But just want to highlight one specific thing just because this is something that's been kind of hot off the presses in Deepin land, and it's decentralized physical AI infrastructure. So this is definitely a big thing coming up, especially with robotics, with autonomous driving, autonomous vehicles. It's been kind of a bigger segment. Just want to give a quick little look at this highlight. You can see at the data collection layer, some of the highlights being Geonet, Natix, Hivemapper, 375 AI is a little app thing. Haven't really looked too much into that. Rover being on here, which currently we are in that test net with that little puck. You can see down here, Machine Coordination Network, Peak is a standout, AI agents, ELIZA, which if you're unfamiliar, this is actually AI16Z. This is regarding ELIZA OS. This is kind of what they're rebranding to. So it is kind of a bigger deal. In the spatial intelligence realm, Over the Reality, which is Over, which they did have a partnership with one of the projects we'll talk about here shortly, which is pretty interesting. But this is just definitely something to keep your eyes on because this is something that is getting a lot of attention, a lot of talk. So just something to kind of take note of. So anyways, let's get started with this thing. We're going to start off with Geonet, and the big news with them is they did get another investment round, and this one was pretty big. It's another $8 million, and it's led by who? This is a pretty big one, Multicoin Capital. So yet another one of the big VC firms. If you are unfamiliar, this is the one where David Sachs was a big investor early on. So kind of a big deal, right? They have been around. They are bigger players in the space. They are crypto focused. So pretty interesting for them to invest into Geonet. And they do have a little article kind of talking about what they are looking at. And you can clearly see what a big thing is. It's physical AI, right? So that's what we kind of talked about. Initially, we did see this with Messari. And now this is probably a big reason as to why Multicoin is interested. So it's multicoin.capital. I'll probably put a link to the article in the description if you are interested. Pretty interesting, but again, it's yet another big VC firm that has bigger interest in Geonet. The other one being Van Eck. If you guys remember, they did do a pretty extensive report and analysis on them as well. So again, just more interest there, which to each their own on whether you think that's bullish. For me, that's mega bullish, but kind of to each their own on that front. Let's continue down. Geonet Foundation and Drone Deploy have partnered to offer 10,000 RTK stations globally. So this was another partnership, and this is with a drone network, which is pretty cool. Another big highlight is they did get mentioned actually by Grayscale. How does Deepin bridge crypto to the physical world? Again, they keep talking about this thing, so this should kind of like signal things. These are all different VC firms that are kind of mentioning this. So this is, chances are, this is kind of where things are heading, right? So you want to swim with the whales. So how does Deepin bridge crypto to the physical world through real world use cases? In this piece, we explore that through the following examples: Solana, Tau, IoT, so HNT, and Geodnet, right? That's a big thing. Data scraping for AI models, which is Grass, which is another big one. And so that's a pretty big deal, right? So again, more mentions of not only Geonet, but just physical AI. So just kind of keep those buzzwords in mind, just because, again, that's where the mind share tends to go, right? Overall, Geonet has been doing extremely well considering everything that's been going on. If we look at the 24-hour, looks beautiful. 7-day, not so bad. The 1 month, you can see where there definitely was a slight correction here. Went down to 24 cents. Didn't hit that 20-cent level we're looking for, even going through all the BS we've been going through. But the fact that it's been kind of this resilient, to me, says a ton. Okay, it's currently at about 34 cents. Again, looking at the max chart, it's been pretty nice. Pretty nice there, stepping up. Extremely impressive. Again, it's about 34 cents, all-time high being about 38 cents. So it's relatively close to all-time high considering everything going on, right? And we can see, because it's actually been holding, it's been moving through the ranks. Okay, it's currently ranked now 419, which is extremely impressive because not too long ago it was hundreds farther down. But again, while everything else is dumping, this has been holding, and even this alone, again, should be another huge standout. The fact that everything is dumping, Geonet's holding fairly solidly, right? So makes me even more bullish on Geode. Let's go down the list though. What else? On a personal front, as far as the miner goes, again, mine's been up for about 49 days. So after 49 days, again, the unit was 620 bucks shipped. We've currently made about 1183 geode, which is about $400. Okay, so again, the unit was about 600 bucks. In about 49 days, we are not too far off. Okay, extremely impressive. Again, very consistent. It's completely passive. Don't do anything. You can see the daily rewards here. Right under 24 daily. My location did get its NFT, so my unit is locked in. It is guaranteed. So I'm extremely, extremely happy. Just factor in that there's still delays on this thing. There will be a halving coming up here in a few months, right? So definitely factor that in. But overall, extremely happy with Geode, not only the miner, but also just as a project to invest in as a whole, right? Again, to each your own. You got to decide what makes sense for you. This is just one I'm personally pretty damn bullish on, right? Let's go down the list. And Dimo, there's been quite a few updates with them. Let's talk about the first one, and it's regarding kind of a change in, not necessarily the earnings. They kind of changed the layout quite a bit. The biggest thing is that they added staking, right? Initially, I heard that. I was like, oh man, pretty big deal. Not super excited about it though. I'm going to stake a little bit, but we'll talk about exactly why. So as we go down, there is kind of a better breakdown as far as earning potential. You kind of can go down. You can look at the different things. Again, the standout for me that I was the most interested in would be the staking. So for me, the downfall is the duration. It's the lockup period. I'm not a fan of very long lockup periods. In this case, it is the bare minimum. It's a 6-month lock-in period. So for me, the only one I would consider doing is that one. The next one being a year. A year down the line would not interest me at all. Why? Because this bull market's probably going to be over by then, right? I don't want to have anything locked up. Arguably, I don't even know if the 6 months one is worth it. Again, you'd have to stake about 500 Demo. You'd go up about one level, which is about 2.75 Demo per week, right? So in the grand scheme of things, honestly, probably not going to do it. It's not really worth the risk. I'd probably rather have it free just in case there is a pump. Something prior, maybe something later. Again, I'm just not a fan of these lockup periods, right? So the APY is definitely not too bad overall, but just really wish it would be different amounts and just definitely not such a long lockup, right? So like that's my biggest complaint with Natix. With theirs, it was 90 days, the cooldown period when you unstake. Not a fan of that crap, right? It's a way to lock up the coins, and I get it. It's beneficial for that, but for me personally, just wouldn't be doing that, right? So again, if you're long term, if you're gonna hang on to it beyond this bull market, then I guess like once things are over, then I probably would lock in. I wouldn't mind at that point, but again, the goal realistically is gonna be to dump all of it sometime throughout this year. We're gonna have to wait and see, but at the end of the day, kind of a bummer. But as you go through it though, if you break it down, you can kind of get a better idea of what your car is gonna make. and kind of the new breakdown between the units, right? The big standout is the Macron now is half of the earnings, right? You can definitely see the levels there. So pretty cool to check out if you are interested. Let's continue down the line. Another big thing they just added are widgets, right? So now kind of different data points. You can see distance, speed, and location. So for any guys who are interested, if you're looking at more data points available, this is a new thing for me. Personally, don't care about any of these things, but it's something that's interesting there. Another big thing I want to kind of focus on with them is that they are clearly kind of like their vision is starting to get a little bit more clear. You can definitely see that they are trying to become essentially a layer for people to build on, right? And you can kind of see a lot of their developments are kind of regarding that, right? Essentially making it easier for people to build on Demo, not necessarily Demo being the one offering all these things, but pretty much opening it up. You can definitely see it clearly here with this update on February 10th, where Demo oracles and the path to open data, kind of making APIs available for people again to build on, use that data for whatever product they want to bring, right? Whether it's something an insurance company wanting to come on or whatever it may be, again having more data points available, which again is part of the reason probably for the widgets thing, is just again opening up those APIs for whoever that information would be valuable for, so they can create something on top of Demo, right? I think that's kind of going to be the gist of it, is that they want to be that base layer for people to come to build on, not necessarily for them to do everything, right? So kind of the vision is becoming a little bit more clear with them. So something pretty cool there. We'll see how it develops. Another update with them. Any of you guys who have a Tesla, if you have a Tesla connected, be advised that if you haven't already, if you haven't checked the app, because again, I don't really check the app too often, you do got to reconnect. The reconnection is going to be required. They change a few things. So if any guys who are connected, make sure you do reconnect so you can continue to earn your rewards, right? So definitely something I've been slacking on. I remember seeing the thing, I completely forgot to do it, so I definitely got to get on it, just to kind of bring awareness to it for any guys who do have a Tesla. Let's go down. So hopefully they do start announcing more partnerships. Alex did post an update. Some incredible partners coming to the table with Demo. We're moving forward with a number of enterprises that we can finally tell people about soon. So definitely pretty bullish. This was on the 4th, which is just yesterday. So hopefully we do start seeing some announcements here in the near future, right? So pretty bullish there. Let's continue down. Now let's talk about Hivemapper, and they have slowly been linking some of the partners they've been working with, right? So currently Trimble was the first one that was announced. Mapbox is another one, which they've kind of mentioned before, but now they officially announced it. And the most recent one now being TomTom, for you guys who kind of remember the big deal with the little navigation things before these smartphones. TomTom was one of the big leaders and is still one of the big leaders in the GPS space. So for them to be working with, again, some of the top companies, it's a pretty big deal, right? So pretty good development there, just because again to bring real world revenue, right? So that's kind of the big interest with a lot of these Deepin projects, is with these partnerships, because they're actually bringing in revenue, right? Which is a different model from a lot of the other layer ones and just a lot of the other crypto projects in general, especially being kind of this new and already bringing in this fee structure. Okay, a lot of the layer ones and such, typically it takes a long time, sometimes multiple cycles, for them to eventually start to refine fees through transactions and such. This is Deepin is a completely different thing, where they are using that infrastructure in order to make that revenue, right? So depending on the project, they have different ways for us to kind of realize benefits from it. Geonet, for example, burns tokens, as does Helium, as some of the others. They're all going to have different ways to do it. I think Natix does it also. So again, this is why there's such a big interest in this sector. Again, even for newbies to invest in, a lot of this stuff is extremely easy to explain, making it, again, just another vehicle to potentially invest, whether it's us crypto folks or even just normies in general, right? So more bullish news there. And then for Hivemapper, not a whole lot of updates on shipping, right? That's been one thing that has hampered them from the beginning, not just recently with this unit, but even the previous camera. Okay, so currently they are beginning to ramp up production. Some of the initial bees have gone out, but it's a very limited amount. They're still saying sometime Q1 that they have been talking about more about increasing that production. So far, we're gonna have to wait and see, right? Until they really are able to get a better prediction as far as getting actually units out. Maybe we'll have better estimates. Right now, it's still kind of in limbo. Initially, it was Q1, but again, we're already in March. Haven't really heard a whole lot yet, so they're kind of waiting to see till they get like better production numbers. That way, they can give better estimates, right? So maybe in the next few months, gonna have to wait and see. Unfortunately, not a big fan of that, but it is what it is. Let's continue down the list. Helium did have another big partnership, and this is one that has been growing, right? They kind of did a trial run, and now they did a more formal partnership with Movistar, which is a big, big provider out in Mexico. So Movistar, Telefónica's mobile flagship carrier in Mexico, and Helium have partnered to bring the Helium network to 2.3 million subscribers in Mexico. Through this partnership, Movistar subscribers will be able to seamlessly connect their phones to the decentralized people-built network where it's available, accelerating the mass adoption of Helium network across the country. Okay, so they did definitely expand on that partnership. So pretty interesting thing to see. Definitely bullish. Again, that's the main use case here is offloading that data. Offload, offload, offload. And again, the big standout here is just the global expansion, right? Which is going to lead to hopefully more. Where will they hit next? We're going to have to wait and see. Maybe it's Europe, maybe it's Canada, maybe it's all of them, maybe it's none of them, but definitely just continuing to grow, right? Which is definitely the things we want to see here. Let's continue down the list. Let's go down to Natix. And again, like how we are talking about the physical AI, again, another big standout was if any guys who watched the conference with Jensen, the NVIDIA conference where they announced the 5090s, they did actually also talk about physical AI. Okay, just kind of leading more into it. And you can see Natix is definitely pivoting in that direction. Their big thing is going to be cameras, but also physical AI, right? And that's actually regarding one of the partnerships, and that's with Over. Remember we talked about Over, that was in that little first little slide. They did do an official bigger partnership with them, which is pretty interesting, right? So the role of Natix, Internet of Cameras, and physical AI advancement. Pretty cool. If you go on their blog, you can read a little bit more about that partnership. But again, they kind of emphasized regarding what Jensen had said, and we're talking about physical AI, autonomous vehicles and robots, AR, VR navigation, kind of giving you an idea of what they are talking about. So pretty cool, right? Again, more developments, more partnerships, more use cases. And a big part that's probably going to lead this thing is their new device, which is the VX360, which is utilizing for you guys with Teslas, the 360 cameras that are available on the Tesla, right? So looks like this guy is going to potentially start shipping at the end of this month. Realistically, it's probably going to be April, but it looks like it is coming soon. So pretty exciting development here. That again, just more use cases, more partnership. These guys are all continuing to grow. As far as my interest for investment purposes, these are all still relatively small market caps that are just a lot of potential, right? To each their own. You have to just see what makes most sense to you. Deepin is obviously a huge sector I am a big believer in. I'm a big bull in. We'll see if it translates to increases in prices or not. We're going to see how this thing plays out, how they develop, how they grow, if they do get these partnerships. Pretty exciting times, bros. But let me know in the comments, guys. What do you guys think? Are you guys bullish on any of these things? Are you guys mining with any of these things? Again, this is one of the things that's been kind of saving my farm, right? Those helium rewards, which actually just went up. If any guys have been tracking that, a lot of it had to do with, again, March 1st. All the CBRS radios are off. So because of that, those rewards kind of got recirculated. And actually, last night we did get a bump for some reason to get like an 11% bump. I don't know what's up with that one, but definitely welcome. So between Helium, Geonet, and earning with these other things, this is what's been keeping the stacking going in terms of like mining, right? But let me know in the comments though, guys. What do you guys think? Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I am out.